want to welcome you because this call is really important. Every Monday, or when we used to have our calls on Wednesday, every call is seriously important, but this call is about you. So that makes it super important. And I really hope that I can express my feelings and my passion about this subject in a way that inspires you to move forward in feeling your best self and being able to share that on in an impact on social media. So first, I'll introduce myself for those who are joining us as a guest. My name is Lauren Richmond. I am a co-founder of Epic Evolution. I have been a coach for 3 years, and as a coach, one of my number one things I focus on is women's empowerment and body positivity. And I'm wearing my shirt today. It says I am enough. And that is something that is really, really important to me. And 2 years ago, I took on the mantra along with Crystal and many members of our team. We took on the, Crystal, do you mind muting a couple people? K9OU, I don't know who.
Yeah, I have to mute all, but then it's going to mute you, so just hold on 1 second, and then I'll mute you.
Lower down the food chain, who didn't have substitute and who were.
For some reason, K9OU is not muted, and that's where it's coming from. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Taking on the mantra of I am enough was something that honestly changed my life. It truly, truly changed my life. And it was a culmination of years that led up to a moment of establishing and believing and honoring myself and believing that I'm enough. So welcome to this team call. Again, we're going to keep it within 30 minutes. This is not just a call that's going to be about me talking. I'm going to take 10 to 15 minutes to share with you my heart. And then the last 15 minutes, I would really love for you guys to open up and to brainstorm and to tell me ways, or we can talk about ways that will allow you to make a bigger impact, how you can make a bigger impact on social media. So the title of this call was Self-Love and how you can empower others and change the face of social media. So I'm going to start off by talking about what is self-love. And the definition of self-love is regards for one's own well-being and happiness. Oh, that's a hard thing to accept, right? That means that you have to take responsibility for how you feel. And you have to take responsibility that what others think of you or what you think others think of you doesn't matter. So having self-love means that your opinion, your thoughts matter regardless of what other people are saying to you, what other society standards are out there. It means that you are responsible and you are empowered to love yourself as you are. That you are enough. Okay, so does that just put us in a position and in a place to love ourselves and not take care of ourselves? Well, if you're here, you clearly know that you've been invited by a coach or you are a coach on our team. So that's not necessarily the case when it comes to your health and fitness. But accepting who you are as you are means that you love yourself, that you find your curves and your edges, you find your faults, you find your self-doubts, you find everything about your being inside and out enough, and that you love yourself for that. But that doesn't mean you're stuck in a cycle of treating yourself negatively by fueling your bodies with negative foods, not giving yourself the opportunity to exercise and move. It means that you love yourself so much that you want to take care of yourself. Because when you love something, you give it your best, right? So you love your children. Do you go and buy your children like the crappiest foods, or do you make sure that they eat better? I know for myself, 5 years ago, my children ate way better than I ever did. Like, I wanted to make sure that they were set up for a life of success and that they felt good and that I was being the best mom that I could be to them. And I was telling them that they are perfect as they are. There is nothing wrong with them. And we love and we honor them for who they are. And I'll tell my friends the same thing too. I love my friends for who they are and what they bring to the table. And I don't see or judge imperfections in my friends. In my mom, I see the most beautiful, strong woman I've ever met in my life. In our coworkers, we see great qualities. Even if they annoy the crap out of us, we know that they have great qualities. If your mom, your sister, your daughter, your friend, your husband was to come to tell you all these negative things about themselves that they feel, what would be your first reaction? Your first reaction to them would be reassuring them that they are not those things. Of telling them that they are worthy and that they are strong and that they are beautiful and you are proud of them for how hard they work and you are proud of them for who they are and that they are giving and they are compassionate. But yet we fail to do that for ourselves. We put ourselves way on the back burner. But now it's time to share, or now it's time to empower and to embrace that we love ourselves and that we are enough. Now, if you follow me on social media, or you follow Crystal on social media, or Sam, or Andrea, or Brittany, or anybody on this team who has invited you to this call, you know that we really preach and speak about body positivity and loving ourselves. And if you've followed us in the past 24 hours, you've most likely seen one of us share our disappointment in society in regards to the Super Bowl and the judgment that was placed against Lady Gaga. I'm going to bring it up because this is something that's really important. Our society has become so judgmental on the way a woman's body looks that we feel it necessary to judge a small pouch of skin that sticks out over a too tight, and that was the issue. Her bottoms were too tight so they didn't fall down. And the way her body looked amazing and it looked beautiful, but yet there's this huge blow up of people casting negativity against her because, I'm sorry, but us as women, we have not stood up for ourselves long enough. We have tried and we have hidden and we have tried to conform to the rules of society. We have thought that we were not enough. We share pictures from here up. We don't share the beautiful imperfections of our perfectly imperfect body. We hold our stomachs in really tight and we tilt to the side and we angle down so we make sure that we get that right selfie so we get those likes and we get those positive comments. We are so scared to be tagged by somebody else in a candid photo because it might not be perfect. We as women, as a society, have fallen into a trap that we are not enough and that our bodies shouldn't be seen, that our postpartum bodies are not perfectly perfect, that just carried a human and delivered a child into this world, that the drooping of our breast is because our breasts aren't up here, that they're not okay to be shown in a bathing suit, that our moments of happiness of playing on the beach with our kids need to be hidden unless the filters have been there and Photoshop has been placed. When you love yourself in a true, deep-rooted fashion, you don't get angry about these things. You don't get scared about these things. You share it because it is what it is. And if we stood up for ourselves, and if we banded together and we started sharing those perfectly imperfect moments, society begins to change. And you begin to empower the people around you. You begin to change the thought process because when you share something, your friend sees it and they say, oh my gosh, look what she just said. She looks so beautiful. I can't believe she just shared that. And then when she goes to the beach, and she has her pictures taken, she's going to double think about not posting them. She's going to think about posting them because she's going to say, Crystal posted that. She posted that, and that made me feel really good to not see the perfect side of her. I want to share my pictures too. And then it trickles down. And then all these people see the beauty of what being a real woman is. There's something that bothers me, and something that's just ticks me off is when women see skinny, first of all, I hate that word, skinny women, and they say, who are models? And they say, or perhaps there's Instagram models. Let's just talk about them. People who take their picture on the internet, make it look perfect, and then have a lot of followers, but don't make any money off of it. Okay, so there's their Instagram followers, right? And they're like, well, they should show only perfect bodies. Or they only show perfect bodies. Why don't they show real women? Who do you think is behind that picture? That is a real person. Okay, regardless if they were photoshopped or not, Victoria's Secret is notorious for this. That face, that heart, that brain, those veins, that blood that flows through that body, that's a real woman. So regardless, if they don't meet your image standards of a real woman, that's still a real person. Now, to get into photoshopping and things like that, that is all wrong, and we should all be sharing what we want to see. But the reasons why the society is the way it is, the reasons why Photoshop is the way it is, or Victoria's Secret, is because you're buying into that image. If you stop buying into that image, they ain't going to show that stuff anymore. They're going to show real women. If you go look at Torrid, okay, so I posted a picture of Torrid today on my Instagram, and one of my friends, she commented and she said, I wish they showed full-faced women and full-necked women. Even plus-size models, they always show with a skinny face. And my comment back to her was, if you want to see that, be it. Go out and be a Torrid model. If you want to see something in society, be it. And so changing society, it starts with you. It starts that learning that you're enough, that you can share your pictures and you can share your moments and you can be authentically you, and you don't have to be ashamed about it. Because once you do that, once you take on the fact that you're no longer going to post pictures from here up, that you're going to post your videos of you working out, you're going to post pictures of you playing with your kids and you're hunched over and maybe your belly's hanging a little bit, but you're sharing moments. You're not sharing an image. You're sharing a moment, and people need to start sharing more moments and stay away from sharing an image. And one thing is when we normalize imperfections, we do change the impact on our airbrush society. When we start sharing more of ourselves, when we become the movement, when we start sharing our bellies, when we start sharing our thighs, when we start sharing the imperfections that we love about ourselves, people start sharing too. It's incredible. It's trend. Like, you can go on Instagram right now, and there was this Instagram model, or she's a bodybuilding model, and she shared about how she was like standing in the mirror and she had perfect abs, but then in her other photo she was standing normal and her tummy pooched. And I will never forget that I was on a cruise with Crystal and Sam, and Christina Delgado. She's an amazing coach. She has an amazing company, and she is been an elite coach, top 10 coach, like amazing coach. And her Instagram, she shares a lot of pictures of these really strong abs, like kick ass. Her and her sister, they have kick ass bodies. And we were on the cruise, and somebody said to Crystal, Sam, and I, Christina Delgado fooled me. All she ever shares is pictures of her six-pack. I don't see a six-pack right now. And all I could think to myself was, first of all, that's no place for you to judge. She's out drinking and having fun and enjoying herself. Who cares what she shares on Facebook? Who cares what she shares on Instagram? But don't you know, that night, Christina Delgado posted a picture of her cruise below belly, because clearly it was on her heart, or maybe somebody brought it to her to share that we don't have to share a six-pack all the time, because a six-pack, one for all, is very hard to maintain. And two, it is not something that stays 24/7. A six-pack is a contraction of a muscle group. It's just like when you flex, I shouldn't do that. It's just like when you flex your biceps. Your biceps aren't always shown. You have a layer of fascia, you have a layer of fat, and unless you are this strong bodybuilder, you're not going to show that all the time. But in your flex photos, you are going to show that. So sharing our imperfections or something, or our bodies, it's not, I don't even like the word imperfections because I feel like that takes away from how beautifully perfect we are. But sharing that and being empowered by the love that you have for yourself, being empowered to help other people is going to change the world. I promise you this, because I already see an impact on my friends. I already see an impact on my family, and it's truly made a difference in my own world. And that's the world that counts, is my world. And if you're here and you're a coach, how it plays a role into your business is, one thing. The first year I became a coach, I went to Summit in 2014. I became a coach in 2013, went to Summit in 2014. And something that stuck out with me was I would follow a few of the top 10 coaches, and there were very few plus size coaches. And at the time, I took on that plus size coaching thought process, okay? Instead of realizing that all size don't fit into a category. And I would see these women and I would be like, oh my God, they're so perfect. Oh, I can't be like that. And then something clicked into me. I wasn't attracted to those top 10 coaches. I wasn't attracted to these coaches, or not top 10 coaches, not necessarily, these major coaches who show these incredible, strong, fit bodies, okay? I was attracted to Crystal Bailey. And the reason why I was attracted to Crystal Bailey was because she was real, because she shared her heart, she shared her soul, and she shared her imperfections that she struggled with at the time. And that's why I was attracted to her. So I know that I'm an amazing coach. There's no doubt in my mind that I don't put my heart and soul to this. At the time, I knew I had the potential to be an amazing coach. And I knew I had something amazing to offer. Even at 280 pounds, I had something great to offer. But I used to have this thought process, though. I'm the coach that still has 60 to 80 pounds to lose. I lost that concept and that mindset because regardless of how much weight I need to lose on the scale, my value is not increased or decreased whether I have weight to lose or not. It's based upon the love I have for myself and the love I want to give my coaches and customers. So in wrapping that up, I went a little over 15 minutes, but in wrapping that up, I want to just empower you, encourage you, embrace you into knowing that who you are is amazing, regardless of what you feel you fit into society's standards. Because guess what? You are society, and you get to choose, and you get to empower yourself and other women and men too. You'd be very, very, very surprised at how many men I speak to, including my husband alone, who does, when contracted, have a six-pack. How insecure that he is with himself based on a fit man society figure. It's very, very easy to get wrapped up in the thought that we aren't enough, that we aren't capable of self-love because we don't look a certain way. But I want to leave you with this last thing. I want to encourage you to be empowered that you are enough, that you are beautiful, that you are amazing, that you are strong, you are intelligent, you are perfect. And that when you take on the fact that you deserve to love yourself and that you are enough, that puts you in a position where you want to fuel your body with good foods. When you realize that you have worth, you realize that this is your temple and that you fuel yourself because you deserve it. You move because your body desires action. you are not a picture. You bend, you move, you shake, you jiggle, and therefore you are. And I want to encourage you. I want to empower you to believe in yourself, to have self-love, and to share that. So with that being said, my little rant is over. But with that being said, I want you to tell me what ways, and speak up. Either use the chat, I'll go through the chat, or unmute yourself and share with me what are ways that you feel that you could share on social media that will create an impact. Is there something we can do together as a team? Should we bring back Project I Am Enough, Project Loose Belly, whatever it is, what can we do? So let's talk about it. If anybody has anything to say, unmute yourself and we will talk. We have about 15 minutes. Since we started a little late, we have about 15 minutes to talk, so let's get that going. All right, let's see what we got. I'm going to read the chat, so if somebody could talk, that'd be wonderful. So make
Project Loose Belly sounds amazing. We need to bring that back. I'm serious.
All right.
I'm starting that revolution tomorrow.
I think we should bring back Project I Am Enough and make it all about that.
I think so too. If you go and you go into Instagram and you look up hashtag Project Enough, you're going to find years of Project I Am Enough. And there might be a couple things in there that are transgendered, that got mixed in, that somebody stole our hashtag. But I'm going to tell you, you're
enough too.
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as the epic evolution, you're going to see years. You're going to go back and you're going to see years of transition, of growth. And it is something that changed our life. Our video that we made is old and dated, and there's something that we need to do as a new project together as a team. And maybe this is something that we can do together. Maybe we can all just take a picture of ourselves and share it. But we need to bring back a movement. We need to make some changes. And we need to be empowered to help other women and to encourage women and men to take care of themselves. So does anybody have any ideas? For some reason, this chat will not load for me.
That's all we were talking about in the chat was that we should come up with start a movement with our pooches, but we said we need a better word than pooch.
So my daughter's in the background, Aislinn. She's 11 and she's in 6th grade, and she says, I have something to say. Do you want to say it?
Yes, Aislinn.
Come say it.
I don't want to say it.
Yes, Aislinn.
Auntie Crystal says she does.
I'll just say it to you.
Okay, well, come over here so they can hear you. Wait, I heard what
Who's going to tell you?
you got to use projector voice, though.
Who's going to tell you?
Projector voice.
Then they talk.
We don't have to talk in front of anybody. Just come stand over here so they can hear you. Okay, project your voice.
What am I supposed to say what I said before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you hear her? You gotta talk louder.
Okay. No, don't.
No, they can't see you. They can hear you.
I said they should bring it back because there's kids that are like in 8th grade and they are kind of like in my school, kind of like starving themselves because of body image and stuff like that.
Did you guys hear what she said? Okay, so my daughters both know that they are enough. Like, if there is one thing I have done right, it's to know that we don't speak of weight. We don't speak of anything wrong with us. Jolene Johnson taught me years ago how to speak to my children, and I have spoke to my children every day since then. And my daughter's 11, and she's working on a school project right now, and she knows that there are kids out there who are starving themselves in 8th grade. Like, my 11-year-old knows this stuff. And that makes me really sad, and that makes me really upset, because here you have 8th graders who, we're their parents. And we need to make that change, because our kids need to know that they are enough. And we need to make that change in society, and that's just not okay. And thank you, Aislinn, for sharing that. Like, it's just not okay. And I see Andrea's nose really red, so that means she's crying. I would appreciate, Andrea, why don't you speak up about that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So in the 8th grade is when I had the boy in my art class tell me why was I checking my makeup and doing my hair because I would never be pretty. And after that year is when I developed my eating disorder. So just to hear her say that kids are suffering with that, it like hurts my heart because I was that girl.
So, Andrea, knowing how much this hurts your heart, how do you plan on empowering Emma? How can we change this as moms, as women, as future moms, as aunts, as friends? Like, how can we change that? How can we do the change? Because this is our mission. This is our purpose. This isn't about us. It really isn't about us. This is about our friends. This is about our children. This is about our future grandchildren. How are you going to change that for Emma?
For me, how I can change that is I need to be more loving and forgiving to myself. And actually, this past week was a bit, I haven't told anybody this, but in the past 2 years on my journey, I mean, it's no secret, I've shared it on social media where I've had 2 relapses with my eating disorder. I made a promise to myself this year because of Emma, and because I want to be that role model for her, that I would make this the first year that I don't binge and purge. And everything has tested that point to where I've, gotten the normal ways that I would have handled stress would have been through binging and purging. And this past week was a true test of that, and I didn't give in. I fought like hell, and I finally feel as though I overcame something huge in my life. And for me, that is important for Emma because I don't want her to grow up hating herself for everything that she's not. So I need to start loving myself for everything that I am, so that she can love herself for everything that she is. Because I grew up, my dad, I know he didn't mean it by any harm, any way, shape, or form, but, my dad came from the military and he kind of instilled a certain level of you have to be perfect and you have to have this standard and you have to do things this way. So when you compare that with, typical things that kids say inside school, it was a double whammy for me. So I need to make sure that I'm not expecting my children to be at a certain level of perfection either. I need to accept them where they are at in their life, in their season, and their imperfections, and not make them feel like they have to live up to some standard, so that when they get in these situations in school and, kids say mean things, that they are empowered at home. So I hope that helps. Sorry, it's just when I heard her say that, it really brought me back to like a time in my life where that was a very real thing for me. So to hear that kids are going through that's just a big dagger to my heart, because I don't want to hear that other kids are struggling with that, but it's a reality that's true.
It is. Crystal, did you have something? Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about something that's really important to me, and actually Lauren and I were having this conversation today. And it's really easy to empower others. It's really easy to listen to Aislinn and say, oh, we got to empower the next generation, or we got to empower these kids. But it starts with us. Lauren talked about what Chalene Johnson taught her, and I just want to talk about that for a second. It's like our kids, especially our daughters, but all of our kids own what we say about ourselves. And if we are in the mirror and we're saying we're this or we're that, I know there's a lot of kids, so I'm going to watch my language, but if we're doing these things in front of them, we're saying these things in front of them, whether or not we're talking to them, whether or not we think they're listening, they are. And there's a reason why Kylie and Aislinn, Lauren's girls, feel a certain way about themselves. And that's because Lauren's very mindful, and I'm very mindful of what I say in front of my kids. I won't have certain conversations. If you call me and you want to talk about body image issues that you're having, and I'm in front of my daughter, I won't have that conversation with you. I'm very mindful of conversations that I have in front of my daughter, and it starts with us, and it starts with what we say about ourselves, what we say about each other to each other, and just even acknowledging the fact that these things exist. And yes, they're going to experience things when they get to school or when they're in school, or when they're in middle school, but Chalene Johnson is the way she is because of how her parents raised her. And what Lauren and I were talking about today, and like this desire to just eat well for life and not worry about what diet or what container, not to say not worry, we should worry, but not to be so consumed by what diet we're on or what plan we're following. And Lauren made a good point, and she said, I remember my mom was always on X, Y, and Z. And I said, I remember my mom was always on X, Y, and Z. And that's why Lauren and I have had the issues. That's why you have had the issues that you've had, because we watched all of our moms, maybe not all, a lot of our moms struggle with this idea of dieting, because all of a sudden dieting was a thing when our moms were raising us. Whether you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, that generation, our moms were just learning that they should be something different than what they were. It was diets and gyms and new plans were just becoming this big craze. And so we watched our moms struggle. We watched our moms go from this plan to this plan to this plan. And we remember that. And that's why we're fucked up. And I don't want to perpetuate that for my kids. And that's what I was saying to Lauren today was, I don't want to talk about the containers so much. And that's my job. It's what I do, but I don't want to talk about it so much. I don't want to talk about weight so much in front of people all the time. I don't want my daughter to be consumed by that. I just want her to see that I live a good life. I live well. I teach my family to live well, and I teach other people to live well, and I empower them not so much with what they're eating, but just who they're being and what they're doing for their life. And it's not about their weight, and it's not about what calorie bracket they fall in, and so on. And I've been just even more mindful than ever recently in like what conversations. She might be on the computer while I'm on the phone, but she's listening. And I'm really mindful of what I'm saying that's going to impact her, and not just her, but your kids. My kids are being raised up with your kids. Your kids are being raised up with their kids. We all are raising the next generation. And if we're going to break the cycle, then it starts with us, and it starts with what we say about ourselves and what we say to each other and the conversations that we have around our kids, and all of it is just, it all plays together, and we just have to be mindful of that. And we have to change our truths about ourselves, because otherwise it's forced and it's tough and we're going to make mistakes. But the more we can change the internal truths that we tell ourselves, the easier it becomes to not perpetuate this cycle. That's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. Amen. It's so important. So it's just not like, as Crystal was talking and I was realizing, it's not just about the pictures. It's about our words, and it's about every impact of everybody around us. So with this, we're going to work more in the team. And if you're not a member of our team, I highly encourage you to become a member of our team. But if you are a member of our team, we're going to take this conversation and we're going to move it into our team. And we are going to talk more about Project I'm Enough. And we are going to bring it back in a way that focuses on the mindfulness of being enough, on the physicalness of being enough, and on spiritualness of being enough, and how we can empower ourselves to live our best lives. If you have anything else to say, I'll give you a couple minutes to speak up really quick, and then we are going to move towards the end of our call. But does anybody have anything that hasn't had a chance to say something? Did you enjoy this call? Did it move you, motivate you? I feel like the Jeopardy theme song. All right. Anybody have anything to say?
Thank you for allowing me to be on your call.
I'm so happy you're here, Amy. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining, Amy. I just want to jump really quick. I was just muted, but my fiance is in the back, and I just want to make a good point in that, like, his parents never struggled with weight. His parents never got caught up in that craze. His mom just always put decent food on the table and never made a big deal about it. And him and his brother and his sister is, if you don't know Tamara Turner, she's like, what is she, 6? and like fit and gorgeous. Somebody started sharing their screen. I don't know how that happened. None of them have issues with food. None of them have the issues that many of us have. They eat well, they work out, and it's just a natural thing to them because that's how their parents raised them. So he just was throwing that out there, and I thought it was valuable to add to what we're just talking about.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that Chalene Johnson talks about. She talked in a private seminar that she had when we were at Summit one time for our team, our bigger team, that her mom never spoke ill about herself. And what a reflection that is. And she took that she realized, and you may look at Chalene Johnson and be like, of course you never had body images. Look at you. But that's not the case, because do you know how many women I know that look exactly like Chalene Johnson and have deep-seated emotional issues with their bodies? But she passed that along to her daughter. And if you follow Chalene Johnson, you notice her daughter is very eccentric. She is gorgeous, and she dresses how she wants to dress, and she has crazy hair, and she's absolutely beautiful, and she is an incredible athlete. The girl runs like 17 miles an hour on a treadmill, and she's never been taught about the weight or a scale, and she lives in, the hills of California, the richest part of the country, and where body image is huge. Kids at 16 years old are getting nose jobs. The thing is we, as a society, as women, who we are, it's got to start with us. We can't preach it unless we do it. And we need to share, and we need to empower, and we need to know that we're amazing and that we just are awesome. Just truly, truly amazing and truly awesome. And we have an impact that is so big. So let's take this to the team. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you for giving us, yes, Laura. Laura just says, I have a blank slate with Maddie. I can't read the rest, but yes. And that's such a beautiful gift to be able to know how much, whether you've struggled yourself or not, but very good, Aislinn, that you have the power. You have the power to change a future. That is so incredible. And we all have that power. And it just brings me to tears, because if I had that, I wonder where I'd be. But then I wouldn't have these words to share with you. I would not have these moments to share with you. So I'm grateful for my moments. I'm grateful for my struggles, because it allows me to impact your life. So yes, that's so true, Crystal. And our mess is our message. So here we are going to end with an optional team prayer. And you don't have to stay, but we do end our calls every week in the glory of the name of God. So we're going to ask Brittany. Brittany, are you okay? You're tilted to the sideways.
Sorry, my phone is charging. And I'm like getting like messages on Facebook from my customers. So, okay, yes, I'm ready now.
All right. Thank you.
So before I pray, actually, I just wanted to say that, one, if you don't believe, because for a long time I struggled from the positive things that people said about me. And I think one of the most important things that we can do is when somebody gives you a compliment, instead of saying, well, this, and this, just say thank you and really, truly receive that compliment in that moment, because they wouldn't be saying it. I don't just give out free compliments to people. People just don't give up, especially in the society we live in. People really, when they do give out compliments, they're meaning what they're saying. And just accept that and say thank you and truly receive what they're saying to you and take it with you throughout your day. And if you don't believe what somebody else is saying, what really started out in my journey is that I believed what God was saying, because I'm like, if the God of the universe is saying all of these truths about me, then I need to believe these truths, because I don't have children, but I know from my relationship with my mom, she hates when I put myself down, or I hate when she puts herself down, and I hear those things. So the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, your Father that created you, that created this universe, that created you from dust, says something about you, you should believe it, because he means every single thing. So if we don't trust people, let's trust our God. And these are a few things, and this is kind of how I'm going to go about this prayer, is in Scripture, where he says, I am a place where God's Spirit lives. God's Spirit lives inside you, so let's honor that. I am God's incredible work of art. I am totally and completely forgiven. I am created in God's likeness. Like, we are created in God's image. Our little quirks are the things that we laugh about. My husband and I just talked about this last night in the car. Like, it's not just physical image. You don't think that God isn't curious like we are. You don't think that God doesn't have a sense of humor. Where would we get our sense of humor? We are created in his image so perfectly imperfect, and he loves us so much. I am the light of the world. I am God's disciple maker. I am greatly loved. Romans 5:8, I am greatly loved. You are loved so much by the creator of the universe. Love yourself. And that is truly when I was able to accept my identity in Christ and who I was as a child of God, as his princess, as his daughter. And if you've ever go to YouTube and listen to The Priestly Bride, you only need to listen to the first 3 chapters. She speaks about what had happened. She had visions and dreams, and she speaks about what had happened in her life and her encounters with God. And in one of her encounters, God said, out of all of my children, each one of you are like an only child. And I take that with me every day, that God hears me and he loves me. And when I feel unworthy and unqualified, he tells me, no, you're more than a conqueror. You're qualified through Christ who died for you. I love you. You are my princess. So as I pray over you, every time that you have those thoughts, that's only the enemy trying to attack your mind, and tell him to go right back to hell where he belongs. And you need to stand up, and Jesus fought in the wilderness with the word of God. That's what we're equipped for, to fight with the word against the enemy, that we know the truth. So Lord, I just thank you right now for Lauren's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful message that she gave to us. And you remind us daily of your truths, that we are worthy, we are enough, we are more than conquerors, we are qualified through Christ's love. And we just remember how much you love your daughter, and we don't want to hurt you, God, so we need to believe your truths, because we hurt when we hear others say things about themselves that they're getting down on themselves, Lord. So we don't want to get down on ourselves when you don't see that at all. That's just the enemy attacking our minds. So we rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus to go back to hell where he came from, and we will fight with our spirit sword against his evil tactics to bring us down, because we are warriors, and we are prayer warriors and fighters, and we will overcome anything the enemy has to throw with us through your love, Lord. So we just thank you again in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much, everyone. Again, we do not have a call next week. Next Monday, we have a live training, which will be done by Sam Wisniewski, and we will be seeing you in 2 weeks from now. I hope you guys all have a beautiful week, and we will move this conversation over into the team. Bye.